Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something a little different, something that I think many of us can relate to. It's about this tiny device in our hands and the huge space it occupies in our minds. For the longest time, my world revolved around scrolling. The first thing I did when I woke up, the last thing before bed, and pretty much every moment in between. My attention span was shot, my anxiety was through the roof, and I felt this constant pressure to keep up, to perform, to just be online. I was addicted, plain and simple. I'd mindlessly scroll through feeds, comparing my life to perfectly curated highlight reels, feeling worse and worse with every swipe. The dopamine hits from likes and notifications were fleeting, and they always left me feeling empty. I realized I wasn't really living my life. I was just watching other people live theirs. That's when I decided I needed a change. A big one. I decided to go on a 30-day social media detox. The first few days were, honestly, brutal. My thumb would twitch, automatically reaching for apps that weren't there anymore. I felt this phantom vibration in my pocket constantly. It was a genuine withdrawal. I felt disconnected, anxious, and incredibly bored. What was I supposed to do with all this time? The silence was deafening. I found myself pacing around my apartment, picking up my phone only to remember there was nothing to check. It was a stark reminder of how deeply ingrained this habit was. I felt a real sense of FOMO, the fear of missing out. What were my friends doing? What major news was I missing? It felt like the world was moving on without me, and I was just stuck. This phase was the hardest part of the journey, filled with temptation and a constant internal battle. I had to actively resist the urge to reinstall the apps, to just take a quick peek. It was a moment-by-moment struggle to reclaim my own attention from the digital void. But then, about a week in, something started to shift. The initial restlessness began to fade, and a sense of calm started to creep in. I started noticing things again. The taste of my morning coffee, the sound of birds outside my window, the simple pleasure of reading a book without being interrupted by a notification. It was like the colors of the world were slowly turning back up. This was my breakthrough. I started filling my time with things I used to love, but had told myself I was too busy for. I went for long walks in nature, I picked up my old guitar, I had long, uninterrupted conversations with my family and friends in person. I realized that the connections I was making in the real world were so much more fulfilling than the superficial ones online. I started a journal, not to post about it, but just for myself, to process my thoughts and feelings. It was a period of rediscovery, of remembering who I was without the constant performance of social media. I was reconnecting with myself, and it felt incredible. As the 30 days came to an end, I sat down to reflect on the experience. The biggest lesson I learned wasn't that social media is inherently evil. It's a tool, and like any tool, it's all about how you use it. The problem was that I had let it use me. This detox wasn't about quitting forever. It was about hitting the reset button. It was about breaking the addiction and learning to approach it with intention and mindfulness. Now, when I use social media, I have clear boundaries. I set time limits. I don't have it on my phone's home screen. I choose who I follow carefully, curating a feed that inspires and educates me, rather than one that makes me feel inadequate. I've learned that real life, with all its imperfections and quiet moments, is far more beautiful than any filtered photo. The validation I need comes from within, not from the number of likes on a post. My focus has improved, my anxiety has lessened, and I feel more present in my own life than ever before. So what's the takeaway from all this? If you feel like you're stuck in that endless scroll, if you feel more anxious than connected, I want to challenge you. You don't have to go for a full 30 days. Maybe start with a weekend or even just one day. Delete the apps, put your phone away, and just see what happens. See what you rediscover about the world and, more importantly, about yourself. It might be uncomfortable at first, but I promise you, the clarity and peace you can find on the other side are absolutely worth it. It's about reclaiming your time, your attention, and your life. It's about choosing to live, not just to scroll. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share this personal journey with you. I hope it gives you some food for thought. If you've ever tried a digital detox, I would love to hear about your experience in the comments below. What did you learn? What was the hardest part? Let's start a real conversation. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on living a more intentional life. Until next time, take care and be present.